did you get an inkling at one point? Did you get some like sort of feel that Ephraim was gonna fuck you over?
Once the deal was going smooth, right? And once we were delivering, like we were doing like 3 aircraft loads per week, like every other day there was an aircraft delivery and everything was going smooth. We got all the overflight permits,
Once the hard work was done.
all the hard work was done. And, so because all the hard work was done, I started showing up at the office less, because I didn't have to be there for 16 hours a day, talking to people, and, stressing out. And, so I was taking like a break. And, I was still managing the logistics and making sure everything was, the planes were arriving on time and people, were getting paid and all that stuff. And, the documents were getting sent to the right people. But, it wasn't like a 16-hour day anymore,
Right.
And then he started complaining. He was like, hey, you're not, come to the office anymore. I'm like, I mean, is there a reason I should be coming to the office? He's like, yeah, I could really use your help on, these other deals I'm working on. And I'm like, are you going to give me a cut of those other deals? He's like, but you didn't set up those deals. I just need your help on them. I'm like, well, but I only get a cut on the things that I work on, Right. And he's like, yeah, but if those deals fail, the whole company goes bankrupt and then the Afghan deal fails, so therefore you're responsible to make sure that the whole company. I'm like, well, then give me a piece of the whole company.
Right.
And he was like, okay. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 1% of the company. And I'm like, I think I'll keep my 25% of the Afghan deal. Right. Because that's like, 90% of all the money coming into the company is the Afghan deal.
Because that's what he was thinking in his head.
Exactly.
He's like, I give him 1%, I can cut him out of that 25%.
That's exactly what. Yeah.
Wow.
That's why he said it. And so I was like, no, thanks. If you want to give me 25% of the, and he's like, don't be ridiculous. I'm never giving you 25% of the company, don't be ridiculous. And I'm like, well, then I'll just keep my, 25% of the Afghan deal. And, then he was like, a lot of people, the other guys at this point it started off just me and him, but like by this point we had hired like maybe 12 or 15 people. So they were like, the office had a decent staff. And he's like, a lot of the guys around the office think that you don't deserve your commissions because, you're not working as hard as they are and they're making way less than you. I'm like, yeah, but that's, a different deal than what you did,
Right.
Why are you even who's saying that anyway? I mean, I was like on great terms with everyone.
Yeah.
I was like the good guy. He was always the guy screaming at everyone. Everyone, was like, was always stressed out around him, So I was like, who's saying that I don't deserve the money I'm making? He's like, it doesn't matter. It's confidential, but a lot of guys are thinking that. And, so I'm like, you mean you're thinking that? So I'm like, what, you don't like, he's like, you don't think that I deserve to get paid what we agreed upon? He's like, yeah, I don't think that you're putting in the work that, that you need to be putting in, so therefore I think that, you're not pulling your end of the bargain. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're delivering, right?
Right.
The contract's going well. Our deal isn't that I need to work X number of hours. I'm not a salaried employee. The deal is that, I get the contract to go and then I get a commission off that contract, regardless of how many hours I put in. And he's like, listen, I'll tell you what, we'll make you a official like officer of the company. You'll make $100K a year, and you get 1% stock. That's my final offer, and I'm like, I don't want $100K a year. I'm supposed to be making like millions of dollars from this contract. I will take what we agreed upon. And he's like, well, take it or leave it, and I'm like, I'll see you in court. And I walked out the door and I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Wow.
I mean, like, I'm not going to do that. So I left, and it was one of the most stressful times in my life because I'd been living off my savings until this point.
Right.
Because like all the money I was making in previous deals, he insisted I roll it into the next deal. So I couldn't pull that money out.
To fund the Afghan deal.
To fund the Afghan deal. He's like, we need every penny we can get,
right.
Like we need to, have your money to, I'm putting all my money in, you should put all your money in. It's only fair, and so that all my money was in his possession.
What was your 25% cut going to be of the Afghan deal?
So if we had completed the thing to the end and delivered all 300 million, we were making an average of, okay, so we had bid it at 9%, right?
Right.
But Ephraim had a real talent for renegotiation, right? As I experienced, right? But he renegotiated on everybody. So when we won the contract, he went back to all our suppliers and he's like, guys, I've got the contract. There's no competitors, just me. You want to do this deal, you have to go through me. Now I'm going to need a better price. I know you gave me a price before and you said that was your best price, but I need you to dig real deep because I've got other people who are going to give me better prices and I can go with them. So like he would renegotiate everything like after the fact, and he'd never stop renegotiating, which is how the whole Albanian thing blew up in our faces. But because he was so good at that, and he did a lot of it successfully, it didn't always blow up in his face. I'd say mostly he was successful at it. We ended up increasing our profit margin to about 20%.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we would have made, if we had delivered on the $300 million deal, we would have made profit about $60 million.
$60 million profit total, to which 25% of that is yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I was looking forward to making that $15 million. And, my plan was to, as soon as that contract was done, to quit because I couldn't stand working with him. He was just such a stressful person to be around. And I wasn't even interested in the business, to be honest. Like it was kind of cool to be involved in like geopolitics and, and all that stuff. And like, I felt like a hot shot, dealing with all these countries and, arranging aircraft of ammo and all this stuff. But I was like, I don't really want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to do something more enjoyable. I've always been a musician. So I was like with, $15 million or whatever it is that we end up making, millions of dollars, I'll be able to, fund a music career, fulfill my teenage dream of being a rock star, right? What teenage boy doesn't want to be a rock star?
Right.
Yeah.
And so what did you start to do? You started just going on the website, trying to find contracts to bid?
Exactly. So I figured, hey, I've just been doing this work for like a year and a half at that point, something like that. And, we won some big contracts. So I knew how the business worked. So I registered my new company with the government and I started looking for contracts. But before that, I took like a month and a half off because I was just so burnt out. Like I'd been working like crazy. And then I realized that I was going to make no money, and that like super stressed me out because I realized, I better make some money soon, because I'm going to run out. And, so yeah, I was like super, super stressed out, but eventually got the new company up and running. And, I bid on, I think it was like a $3 million contract. I forgot what it was, like for anti-aircraft ammo. And, I was informed by the government that they wanted to do the like some of the audits, which was the final pre-award phase, that similar to what we had gotten, much less intense than what we did for the Afghan contract, but they gave indication that they were about to award this contract to me. And I was going to make like $1 million on this contract, just this one contract, because I had great profit margins, like found a really good supplier through one of my contacts. And like the day before they were going to award the contract, literally the day before, the New York Times article broke. And the front page of the New York Times had my mugshot on it, as well as Ephraim's mugshot, next to a picture of rusty looking ammunition. And they said that we were delivering like low quality ammo, and it became a big scandal. Because where they got that picture was we had delivered I think Ephraim had bid on like 30,000 rounds of Bulgarian ammo. It wasn't even the Chinese stuff from Albania. It was Bulgarian ammo. And he had bid on it sight unseen. It was dirt cheap, and it wasn't a large enough quantity to go fly over there to inspect it. So his thinking was, it's so cheap, we'll roll the dice. If they accept the ammo, we'll make a lot of money. If they don't accept the ammo, it's not such a big, loss, right? Turns out, not surprisingly, the ammo was total shit. And it was rusty. And when it got delivered to Kabul, it was rejected. They took one look at it. They're like, we're not giving this to soldiers, So they, in Kabul, they didn't have like ammo, disposal services, right? So what they did is they just stuck those few pallets of bad ammo to like the side of the runway, and it just sat there for like months, while they tried to figure out what to do with it. The New York Times, after Costa informed them about this whole story and they started investigating, they flew over to Kabul and they started talking to some of the military officers there about our company. And they're like, oh, is there anything can I see any of the stuff that they delivered? They're like, oh yeah, that stuff over there at the end of that was some crap they delivered right there. And so the New York Times reporter went and photographed that, and they made it appear like that was like all the stuff we were delivering. So the front page story was that these two young stoners, because they got in our mugshots actually from another incident. So we looked pretty bad. And of course the implication was that all the ammo we were delivering was this rusty, low quality ammo,
which was not true.
It was just this one. Now, I'm not saying that, no responsibility. We should have delivered this rusty ammo. We should have never delivered that rusty ammo,
Well, the rusty ammo ended up being less than 1% of all the ammo you delivered?
It was.
It was 0.0001%.
Exactly.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's 30,000 rounds out of, I think it was something like 150 million total or 200 million total of all the different types of ammo. So yeah, it was a very, very small amount.
What was the term they used in the contract that the ammo, it had to be operationally without, what was the term?
Man, it's been so long. Serviceable without qualification.
Right. It had to be serviceable without qualification, meaning they didn't care if it was super high quality ammo as long as it went bang.
Right. They just wanted it to work.